Welcome to the Kitsap Matters podcast. In each episode, we discuss the people, places, and things that make Kitsap County unique, covering local entertainment, restaurants, business, government, and anything else we find interesting, troubling, or just plain amusing. This is a community-focused podcast, but sometimes financial topics do arise, and since the host is a licensed financial professional, we have to include the following disclosure in every episode. The strategies and concepts discussed are for educational purposes only and do not represent specific investment, tax, or estate planning advice. Investing carries an inherent element of risk, and it's in everyone's best interest to consult a tax, legal, or investment professional. Kevin Campbell is an investment advisor representative of and advisory services offered through USA Financial Securities, a registered investment advisor located at 6020 East Fulton Street, Ada, Michigan, 49301. Peaks Financial is not affiliated with USA Financial Securities. All right, welcome to another episode of Kitsap Matters podcast. I'm Kevin Campbell. I'm excited today to introduce Shawn Perry. Born in Virginia and the son of a Marine, Shawn's journey spans athletics, public service, and music. He earned degrees in human performance and exercise physiology and spent over 2 decades rising through the ranks of the Sacramento Fire Department. Music has been a lifelong passion, starting with his first public performance in 2000 and now leading the band Merge. He also runs a boutique recording studio here locally. Recently, he released a song under the name Class of 78 and stays busy with creative projects and community work. Shawn, thanks for being with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're going to have fun.
Yeah, well, I've got whiskey. So
right, we're having whiskey. We are drinking whiskey. Full disclosure, yeah. We're drinking whiskey. We're having a good time. Shawn is a friend as well. And we're just basically today's going to be a couple of guys having cocktails and talking.
How about my life story?
Shawn's life story.
Greatest hits.
That's why I'm drinking. So first, all right, so the Kara Hess podcast, you were here for that. We had a lot of fun on that one. And we just got back from Chinook Fest, because we talked about that on the podcast. Chinook Fest, that was, what month is it now, June? It was in June, and we both went to Chinook Fest. Kara was there. We saw a bunch of our other friends. That was an absolute blast.
Yeah, it was a great time. And I don't know if you caught in the performance, but Kara is probably the longest standing performer. She's been there for many, many years. They invite her typically every other year, so this was our time, all of us, to have a good time. And I've been there. That was my 4th. So I knew what I was in for. And I got to know the people that run it. I'm kind of semi on the outside, inside.
You're
a little bit.
Almost the cool kid?
Almost the cool kid, to the point where they got me to run sound on a stage for a little while, which was kind of, I felt good about it. But yeah, we had a great weekend.
What a fun festival. That was just a blast.
Yeah.
And, so thanks to you and Kara both for telling us about it. And, that was a great time. We had an absolute blast. The only downside was that my cell phone got destroyed.
Yeah, you have a story. They brought the wrong tent, the one-person tent. Then they went to get another tent. I'm tattling right now. I'm just going for it. Then they went to get another tent on their Harleys, and his phone jumped out and fell on the road, and just a tragic weekend.
Yeah.
But
brief moment of silence for my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So. It was an adventure.
Yeah.
Friday was an adventure, but we still once we got all the chaos over with and out of our systems, it was a whole lot of fun. What a great festival. Chinook Fest was just, so quick plug for Chinook Fest here. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I would call it a boutique music festival, 1,500 people, right there on the river, up near Chinook Pass, camping.
Silent raving.
Raving, that was a trip.
I've never done that. I've never done a rave, and all of a sudden we're out there with these glowing headphones on, and everybody's doing this weird thing. I'm like, what are they doing this for? And then we put our headphones on, and we're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, that was so cool. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, this is they do this thing. I was out in the forest, and at midnight, so it was pitch black, and they had these projector lights shooting into the trees that made it look like little tiny Tinkerbells, little fireflies flying all over, like I don't know, millions of them flying all over the place. And then you put on these headphones, and there's music jamming. You're
and
immersed.
so
the
they're
headphones
totally
just
immersed.
It's
Absolutely.
silent 1 minute. That's why it's a silent rave. It's silent 1 minute, and then you put the headphones on, and you just
And then the funny thing is, you jam and you're dancing, you're having a great time, and everybody's wearing headphones, they're all listening to the same music. So everybody's dancing and everything, and then it's so funny, you walk off to the side, take off your headphones, and it's dead silent.
And you're out there like, what are those idiots doing?
What are those idiots doing, right? With these glowing headphones on. But what a fun time. That was an absolute blast. That was a super fun time. So anyways, enough about that and the plug for Chinook Fest, but that was great.
Yeah.
All right, so now today we're going to talk about the story of Shawn, because that's kind of and you're always fun to hang out with, right? Interesting guy. I always enjoy conversations. Yeah, right. It's fun. So we're going to talk about Shawn's story today. So you're the son of a jarhead. I can say that.
That means Marine.
For those of you who don't know, that means Marine. As a former mine, I try to keep mine in remission. Try to keep that pushed down. But I'm a former jarhead myself. How did your upbringing influence your values, work ethic, that kind of stuff? What kind of influence did your dad have on you?
So interesting. My dad was never really, I wouldn't call him a teacher or a preacher or a philosopher. He just had rules. And the rules were you make your bed in the morning, which is partly my mom too. Your bed is made, it's kind of like the quarter test, you can bounce a quarter off the bed, hospital corners and all that kind of stuff. My mom was the soft, loving side. My dad was the hard-edged side. He was hard. He was a hard person. So I don't want to pretend that it was wonderful and my life was perfect. It wasn't. But most of my early childhood, my dad was gone. He did Vietnam. He did Thailand. He did Guam. He did Okinawa. So half of my life till I was 8 years old, he was overseas. And I was told at that time, you are the man of the house, because I was, 6 years old, 8 years old. And that was fed to me. It's like, okay, Dad is gone, you are the head. And I had a brother a year younger and a sister 2 years younger than that. So I kind of took that role semi-seriously. What I knew as a child is I had to be good. I had to be the one to follow the rules, not give Mom a hard time, that kind of thing. And so with that, and with the fear of my father coming back, because he always came back, I was a pretty good boy. I think I was. And so I guess formative, that was a big part of it. And my mom's side of the family was a bunch of Italians, a bunch of little squatty Italians that loved food. They were wonderful people. They were huggers. They were beautiful. And so I had the Marine Corps side, keeping me stiff, straight, all that stuff. And then I had the loving side, which I leaned toward. But I still have the DNA of the sort of the influence by being raised by a Marine. So that's kind of where that is. Then by the time I was 9, he was finally home for good for a long time, and we didn't know what to do with that either, because my dad was just not. He would come home at 5 o'clock, slam the door, not kidding, slam the door to let us know he was home. Dinner was at 5:30, and we just sort of worked around him. We just sort of worked around his behavior, around his fear of him a little bit, till later in life, and we can get into that. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. It's okay.
Now, you've been married for quite a bit.
Forever.
Been married 1987, is that right?
1987, yeah. So this is a trip for me. I was 26 years old when I met my wife, Dawn, and I was at the point that a lot of my friends had already been married. They get kids going at that age. And I'm like, it's okay if I never meet the right person. It's okay. I was ready to be kind of single forever. And I walked into a bar, and there was a band playing, and there was a blonde up there singing, and that was my goal. And I say like that's my goal, tonight you or be mine. Really, what I did was I kept drinking. And the gal I was with was a friend girl, not a girlfriend. She was a friend girl. She said, I know a friend of hers that, I'll introduce you. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was just idiot on the dance floor, bopping around, trying to make eye contact. And I noticed she made eye contact back. I'm like, really? Okay. So we got introduced at the end of the night. It was smiles. It was a nice warm handshake. And she said she was going to be there the next week. And I said, it'll be my birthday. Could you send me a birthday song? And she said, I will. And that next week I got shipped off to Baltimore. I was a coach at the University of Illinois, and I got shipped off to go to a track meet. And I was I'll never see her again. This sucks. I was in Baltimore. I went to a wild bar that night for my birthday because I'm by myself. That was crazy. And I thought, I'll never see her again. And I did. And then I married her. And that's the way it goes.
So And you've got a couple of kids. How has family life shaped your personal and professional journey?
Interesting. How's it shaped it?
Right. So, and I guess you and I were talking a little bit before the podcast, and so my father was not a Marine. I was, but he was military, and incredibly strict.
Yeah.
And I've actually found when we were talking about it before, you were kind of surprised that I was a Marine, and I'm like, I try to keep it repressed, right? Yeah. And because frankly, I didn't want my kids to grow up like I did.
Yeah.
In a home of fear.
Yeah. Right. So we understand. We both understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that shape your journey?
So I kind of said, as a budding father, it's like, we got a baby coming, and by the way, we were married for 5 years before we brought kids in. I thought, let's get to know each other, and so that's kind of how we spent the first 4 or 5 years. And then along comes, I'm pregnant, and I got this child coming, and we didn't want to know the sex. We just wanted the whole thing just to be a mystery. I loved it that way. But I said to myself, the military father side said I have a duty and a responsibility. I don't want to sound like some superhero because I'm not. But I also said I'm not going to be anything like my dad.
Yep.
I'm going to love my kids. I'm going to be emotional with my kids. I'm going to wrestle with my kids. I'm going to play. I'm going to inspire them, hopefully. Not throw too much of my philosophy at them, but just try to be a good role model. I didn't want to be a preacher. I wanted to be a little more of a teacher and a role model. That was kind of my thing. It's just do it right in front of them, and they will figure it out, and then let them be them. So my thing is raising my kids is I wanted them to feel loved, and Don was also the best at that. And I wanted to open as many doors possible for them to figure out who they wanted to be. So that's what we did. We just, would you like to do music? And we forced them a little bit. It's like, you're not sitting home because video games were coming. And my son was a big gamer, and that's when it was coming on strong. But we said, you're going to play sports. So if you want to think or look at me as I had a hard line, my hard line was actually Don's too, is you're going to move your body, you're going to play sports, and in the end, when you're old enough and you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But if you want to, we're just going to give you a foundation. So they were both active in sports. They were both really good students. Both my kids I accuse of being a little bit too smarter than Dad. My son, he's like the greatest human being, but he did not apply himself for a while in high school. It was too easy. Mm-hmm. And so he was in sports and having difficulty qualifying to be on the field at a time. So I was struggling with what more can we do to get him to do the right things. And he did. Eventually he did, and things worked out, and he got a degree. He got a degree in video game design through Full Sail out of Florida. And my daughter got an associate's degree, but she had decided that a bachelor's was not. And I guess the only reason I'm bringing that up is I was the first person in my family period that went to college and got a degree. So of all the cousins and all the aunts and uncles, nobody out there really valued on both sides. And I for some reason I figured it out. I'm like, I need to do that. And so that was my, again, influence maybe on my kids. Babbling here, but I just...
So in one way, I'm going to kind of flip this the other way for a second there.
Flip it.
Because we just talked about the fact that you were trying very hard to give your kids a different upbringing than you had.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the same thing that I've tried to do.
Yeah.
What is one important lesson you learned from your parents that you did pass down? What's something you kept?
Yeah, change the oil in your car every 3,000 miles. That's really from my dad. But
this is so funny.
Okay.
When I was in high school, my dad used to say, get a job, get a haircut, save your money, and change your oil.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
that was it.
We're bonded.
Get a job, get a haircut.
We are bonded.
Save your money, change your oil. That was it. Change your oil. A good oil change. This message brought to you by Quaker State.
In fact, the other day I got my car fit. I got my truck oil change, and it was my dad's truck. So ironically, I just had it, and I was 2,000 miles overdue. I'm like, I hope he doesn't, if there's heaven or hell, because he doesn't want to admit they exist. I'm going to speculate. But anyway, is he watching me right now, and is he like mad at me?
Probably.
And it was okay.
If you went 2,000 over, yes.
Yeah, I was bad boy. But Let's see, where were we going with that?
Well, the lesson that you learned from your parents that you kept, not the ones you threw away.
Yeah.
Which ones did you keep?
You know what? I think the biggest thing on my mom's side of the family, the wonderful, warm little squatty Italians, was we went to a family reunion in 1997. Both my kids were alive; they were bonded, and they don't remember this. But my auntie Dottie, she was the youngest of 20, and only 12 made it to adulthood. She gave this big speech.
20 siblings?
20 siblings. This is my great aunt. And she made a speech, and she said in the speech, respect everyone. So that was how I felt. You know, I'm getting, as I get older, I get all bleh. I was in awe of her. I was 37 at the time. My kids are there, and I'm like, this is my creed. This is my family. These are my roots. And for me, that meant more than just about anything. You know. So it was a great lesson for me to hear that from Auntie Potty. We called her Auntie Potty. It was Auntie Dottie, but we called her Auntie Potty. Anyway, respect everyone was my thing, and we have it on film somewhere. We on video or film, whatever it was back then. And I'd like to find it, and I'd like for people to see that, because I think whatever your religious or your political, whatever, that's a central message for everyone in my book. So that's kind of my creed.
Just respect everybody.
Yeah, and everyone's different from you, so you just got to deal with that.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you were more like me, I'd like you a lot more.
I was just thinking about the fact that I'm pretty sure my wife thinks one of me is enough. Right?
Okay.
I'm not sure the world needs another Kevin.
That's okay. That's right. We're here together.
All right. So now professional journey.
Yeah.
So you were a Division I athlete, right?
Yeah.
And then you went on to, as we talked about earlier, you went on to eventually join the fire service, become a firefighter, and then rising up to battalion chief.
Yeah. So there's been a few.
Hang on, not done yet. Then musician, studio owner, and now you're also doing fitness videos and all this kind of stuff. So that's quite the journey. Tell us about the journey. Athlete, firefighter, musician, studio owner.
Right. I'd like to announce I'm running for the President of the United States.
Right on. Shawn for President?
No.
I would vote for you. Absolutely.
Well, so as an athlete, as a young kid, like I told you, my dad was rough and he was overseas a lot. And I got bullied. I was a little guy. In 6th grade, I weighed 69 pounds. And if anybody can relate or understand what that was, I was teeny, I was small. And I moved from Boston with my Boston accent. I moved out to California, and I got there, and things were rough. I got pushed around, I got shoved around, I got knocked down a lot in 6th grade. And so beginning of my athletic journey was I was the classic sand kicked in the face on the beach kind of thing. And I literally, in 6th grade, 7th grade, my dad was overseas, and when he came home, I told him these things. And I was embarrassed because my dad was a badass. And his oldest son's just getting his ass kicked. And he said, do you want me to buy you some weights? And he did. I built a bench press out of 2x6s in my garage. This is 6th grade. I put up the poster, what to do, and the guy getting the sand kicked in his face and becoming that. And I hid for about a year. People would knock on the garage door. Come on, Shawn, come out and play. They wanted me to play tag or whatever it was, hide and seek. And I'm like, no, I got it. And I'm in there just lifting weights, trying to become something else, trying to, reinvent myself. I guess that's what they say a lot nowadays. And I was diligent. I was on a mission. And I was always early on one of the last people picked, all that kind of stuff. So it didn't come naturally. I was short, I was small, I was weak, I was all that stuff. And that time I spent by myself was just, it was an incredible personal experience, deeply personal. So by the time 7th grade came along, actually, we'll just fast forward. I went from playing 3 plays over 2 years in Pop Warner, 3 plays in 2 seasons of football, that's all I got on, to my freshman year where something happened. I finally converted. Got into a fight at the bus stop, kicked Doug Dashnaw's ass, 2 punches.
Take that, Doug.
Because I was always getting made fun of. It was just the brunt of everything. And that moment finally happened, and I changed. I knew who I was becoming, and I was really feeling a lot better, about who I was. So my freshman year in high school, I was a starting player on the football team. I scored our first touchdown. All that stuff started to come together. And yet, every time I went to another level, junior college and college, I started all over again. It's like, you're small, you're not as big, you're not as yourself, all that stuff. So I had to do it at American River College, and then I went to San Jose State, which was a college that had a legacy of Olympians that had come through that university. It was famous for people that had broken world records. So I went in there again, and I was nothing. And 2 years later, I won conference, and I did some things. I was this little guy who just kept saying, basically, F you, all of you. You say no, I say yes. You say yes, I say yes. I used everything as fuel, and I did what I could. And I was a regular guy, too. I mean, I'm going to class. I had a girlfriend. It wasn't like my whole life was just one thing, but it was a core part of me that I had to chase it. I had to go for it. And I wasn't afraid to fail. And I did fail. I failed tons. I had a couple bright moments. I was working my way toward the Olympic trials, tore my groin, which I did 41 years later, like 3 weeks ago. I haven't had a torn groin muscle in 41 years. And it cost me, but I was there. I was like almost in training with a bunch of Olympians on the same field. It was really something. So I'm kind of blurring all that, throwing it all together, but most of my life has been trying to be something that I want to be and that maybe other people didn't think I could be.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoyed
a little bit of a hold by mirror, watch this.
Yeah, kind of like that. Now I will tell you that I saw the American record in the javelin. I saw the throw. I saw the guy, Bob Rogie, threw the American record, and I watched that javelin just go and go and go. And I realized at that point, I'm not him. He's 6'3", I'm 5'9". He was just a beautiful specimen of a human being. And it was okay. I wished I was him, but I'm like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was happy with where I was and what I did for who I was. And that felt good. And it built a foundation for other things, I think. So good memories, feel good stuff. Never made the box of Wheaties cover. Never made the magazine, but that's okay. I'm not done. We're going to get to that stuff. So do you want me to like blah, blah, blah some more?
So you did that, then you went into firefighting.
Yeah.
And you raced all the way to battalion chief there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that must have been quite the journey, and so now you're retired. Mm-hmm. And just taking it easy, sitting on the
I'm just sitting around in my boxer shorts. I don't wear boxer shorts. I don't even wear, tighty whities. There's a story about that.
I was afraid there wasn't. Did you just say there was just? I just sit around
when you're in the locker room in the fire service and someone says, "Hey, Cap, nice tighty whities," you're like, "Oh, I need to evolve again." I don't know how long ago that was. It was probably 12, 15 years ago. I'm like, okay, so there's something else besides tidy whities. Anyway, thank you, Shawn Perry, for the visual.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
There's some editing right there.
Hey, you think so? I don't know.
So, battalion chief now, and let's talk about music, though, because you and I both share a passion for music.
Yeah.
So, I know you said that, the first time you got on the stage, was that a bet, or
no?
Was it intentional?
I'll tell you, we're going to go back and forth a little bit. I wanted to be a singer since I was really young, but I chose athletics. I went that direction. My dad said, we can't afford. I wanted to learn instruments. We can't afford that. So that was just like, okay, I'm going to be an athlete. And so music just got put off, but a band named Kansas came along in the 70s, and I fell in love with their band, the singer. I got to meet him down the road and all that stuff. And I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be Steve Walsh. I wanted to sing Carry On Wayward Son. I wanted to sing Just of the Wind. I would do it by myself in my car, wherever I was, where nobody could hear me. I did it for decades. Decades, really, not years. And secretly, I wanted to be a singer. Secretly, I knew I could be. And so when I was 40 years old in the fire service, we had a ceremony that evening, and it involved the chief and just all the Class A uniforms and all that stuff, and all these people coming. And we were in an airplane hangar that had been closed down. McClellan Air Force Base had been closed down, and we had this airport hangar. And I was in there just semi-joking, singing the national anthem. A couple of my instructors heard it. They ran to the drill master and said, Shawn needs to sing tonight. And Dawn, my wife, was coming. She was coming to do video, and she's an opera major. That's what she did. And so I agreed. I'm shortening the story a little bit, but I agreed to sing that night. And then the butterflies. I mean, I was nauseous. I'm like, what am I doing? This is a big formal event, and all this decorum will be there. And so we're sitting up front as drill instructors, and they said, and now everyone rise for the national anthem. And Don was on a camera off to the side, and I knew I couldn't make eye contact. There was just no way. And I took 2 steps forward and I sang. And I sang in this airplane hangar, and it was beautiful. You know, it was just like singing in, I don't know, Carnegie Hall, or it was my version of that. And I sang, and I did fine. I did okay. And I sat down. I must have lost 5 pounds. Just a sweat, just hoping everything was going to be okay. And then a couple of years later, I got asked to sing at the state capitol for a memorial with the governor present, Governor Gray Davis. And then 2 years later, they asked me to join a choir. I'm like, okay, I must be doing okay. And I got to sing for the governor, for Arnold Schwarzenegger, at a memorial. Very solemn event. Very, like, you don't screw up there. These are the families of firefighters that passed away that year. And so you've got it super soft. The whole city block is surrounded by LA Fire and San Francisco and Fresno and Sacramento and all these other agencies. And you're singing to the families, and you got Arnold right there. There he is. And that was another one of those where your heart's pounding out of your chest. You got to get up there, and you have to perform. And I did. And right when I got to the end, land of the free, and I knew I was in, I looked him right in the eye. And what you don't know is that year was probably 2000, I don't know, 3 or 4. I walked into his gym while he was working out in 1980. And I got to sit there for $5, and I could work out right next to him. So I met him. I was in the same room with him in 1980 because it was a journey I took. I was in the bodybuilding for a little while. I'm like, we're going to the original Gold's Gym and World Gym because that's where those people trained. Right. And there he was. And Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk.
Wow.
All these people that I was reading in the magazines were there in 1980. And I literally went down there and said, it's Monday morning, and we're going to go to Gold's Gym. And they were there. And then we went to World Gym because Arnold wasn't there. Well, he's at World Gym, which was brand new. And Joe Gold, the owner of Gold's Gym, had opened World Gym. So there's Joe Gold doing crunches. He was like in his 60s, 70s.
Old
60s,
guy.
Old guy.
Totally old.
Probably. And there's Arnold, and he's flexing in the mirror, and we're just standing against the wall, kind of holding our breath. And then 3 weeks later, he entered the Mr. Olympia, the biggest contest, surprise entrant, and he won. So I got to see him secretly training for his surprise entrant. And then 20 years later, I'm singing to him. So it's kind of a weird. I know he talks about me a lot. I'm sure of it.
Right? Yeah. He's like, there's this weird dude who's following me.
Yeah, keep following him. Yeah.
You know, he was standing in the wall.
Yeah.
That
Shawn guy. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's just one of these circular stories that's like I got to, I don't know, see some things that a lot of people didn't get to see, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
fun journey.
It
sounds like a pretty amazing journey.
It's been, and I guess, you know, for me, it's like when you get to a point where you could say no and just say, no, I'm going to go over here and not do that. I typically say yes. And the reason I do is I know that I might fail, and I know that things might not go well. I might look bad, I might whatever. But I'm willing to try, and I don't always succeed, but I think it's just somebody somewhere in my life just says in the back of my head, go for it. So there's very few things. I mean, right now I'm not going to try to be an Olympian. My time came and went. I'm not going to try to do anything unrealistic. But even at this advanced age, I'm going to continue, just like you are, getting your pilot's license. Mm-hmm. You know, you guys are, I admire you guys. You ride Harleys. I think I'm kind of afraid, honestly, to ride a Harley. I'm afraid to get in a plane with you for sure. But
well, you should be.
No, but I value being around people that are willing. I love it. I love the association with people that are willing to say, I'll try.
Yeah.
You don't have to succeed. Like if you told me 2 weeks from now, yeah, it didn't work out, I'm still proud to be around you. You know, if that happened that way, but it's probably going to happen.
Hopefully it won't be hitting you 2 weeks later. Yeah, crash.
And then you're going to say, Shawn, do you want to go up? I'm like, no, I don't.
But you do.
I would.
You do.
I would. So, yeah, if we're trying to get to
know Friday Harbor.
What's that?
Burgers and Friday Harbor.
Burgers and Friday. Well, and just bringing this full circle, Kara may have a gig in Roche Harbor. I don't know if there's an airport out there somewhere.
Yes, there
so
is.
She may have a gig there at the end of August. We're hoping that works out.
Awesome. We will be there.
I just decided for us. We're flying in.
Will they allow us our kind there?
Your kind.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That'll be a blast.
Yeah, it would be just like the ultimate, right? Fly in, fly out, crash on the way home, great memorial service, all that stuff. Why would
you can sing at the memorial? Right?
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
There'll be no memorial. I'm not crashing.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not crashing. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
I got way too much to live for.
So, enough about me. What do you think about me?
You know, I was actually going to say that one of the things I find so entertaining about you is that you're like, so as you know, we occasionally have musicians on the podcast, and I was like, hey, Shawn, do you want to play on the podcast? And you're like, hell no.
Yeah.
Right?
I suck.
Yeah, right. But here's the funny thing. I remember the first time I saw you. And the first time I saw you, you were on stage.
Yeah.
And you were singing with Merge.
Yeah.
And for a guy who
can't play,
you've got a great stage presence.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And I was like, that dude is good.
Man,
come to find out that he was like air guitar, right? He probably wasn't plugged in.
The volume was off.
Yeah, he probably wasn't plugged in or anything like that. But your vocals and everything, you've got a great stage presence, all that. You're doing great. It's a lot of fun to watch. I enjoy watching your performances a lot. It's a whole lot of fun.
It's a high for me. It's
You know what I love though is that, and now you're also on this fitness journey. Not that this is new.
I'm back. The comeback.
Back, right?
That's really what it is. It's another comeback, like 52 comebacks. But anyway.
Right? It's like a John Elway thing, right?
I suck, I'll come back. I suck again, I'll come back. Anyway, that's how it goes.
But that's super cool, and I love the fact that, so, we talk about this a lot here. In on previous podcast episodes, we talk about this idea of retirement, right? And that, for so many people, retirement is I think you and I were having this conversation at Chinook Fest. There may have been some beer involved, so that
maybe.
It may not have been us.
Yeah.
But about people who are, I know people my age who are already retired, and they are now old people.
Yeah.
And I refuse.
Yeah.
I refuse to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will not go quiet.
Yeah.
Right. To me, this is like the best adventure. We're having more fun right now, more adventure than I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
And as you talk about motorcycles, we're getting ready to leave on a 12-day motorcycle ride through British Columbia. We're going to make it almost to Alaska. And
I'm exhausted just listening. Yeah.
I'm kind of exhausted too.
Are you really British Columbia, Alaska?
Yeah.
On a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah. So you need to get one.
Okay. All right.
All you have to do is get a bike, learn to ride by Friday.
All right. By Friday?
Yeah, you can do it.
Shoot, I think I'll be in Montana. All right.
So,
true story.
Airplanes, motorcycles, all this stuff. But we both know people who are already retired, and they've suddenly decided they're freaking old.
They're done.
And they're done. And what I love is that.
Screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember a mentor of mine one time. I was talking to him about, and at the time, this is like 15 years ago or so, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe close to 20 years ago. Okay, yeah, it was 20. Call it 15. We'll round. We'll say it was 15 years ago.
Okay.
And he was a mentor of mine, and he was close to being old enough to be my dad.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember going, well, you're going to want to retire sometime soon, right? And he's like, hell no.
Yeah.
Right? No. He's like, and I was talking to him one time about his health. I was getting concerned about his health. And this guy, he was a great mentor. I felt very close to him. And I was like, well, hey, you need to watch your health, and you need to do this and do that. And he's like, I have no intention of dying of old age. He's like, I'm going to slide into the pearly gates, going, what a ride.
Yeah. Right?
And I feel that's kind of like the path that you're on.
Yeah.
Of this path of, hey, you're retired, which for a lot of people is, I'm retired. I'm sitting on.
I'm retired from something. I'm retired from this thing. That's how I feel about it.
But you're still on this epic journey.
I'm not retired from life.
Yeah, but that's a great way of saying it. Yeah. That's what a lot of people do. Is they check out. And they're like, I'm going to go sit in my rocking chair on the front porch now. Yeah,
and that's because society sort of dictates that. That's what when you retire, you're supposed to play golf, which is, I love golf, but I haven't played in years, but I like it. But you're supposed to just.
I was going to say earlier, I saw you do your practice golf swing in here, and you said you love golf, but I watched your practice swing, and I'm like, obviously, when you say you haven't played in years, that
did it show?
It's apparent.
Yeah, it's great. Nice one. That's a good one. Deserve it. So it's funny because I do want to talk about perspective. When I was a younger person, I liked hanging around older people. I liked their wisdom.
Yeah.
I liked their knowledge. I liked their experience. I really wanted to hang around people that were, let's say, 20 years, 30 years older. I gravitated toward that.
Yeah.
Now I gravitate toward younger people. And my friends. They're in their 30s and 40s and 20s. And I'll take 90s too because I'm still learning from people. Yeah. My mom, I love talking. She's 84. She just turned 84 the other day. And I just love listening to her. She has wisdom. She comes out these sayings. The latest one was, everything's forgiven between the sheets. I'm like, okay, Mom. Where'd that come from? Anyway, I had to go get sexual because, it's cool. But I love learning from younger people, too. My mind is wide open. Why the hell wouldn't it be? And I'm not in a position where I need to tell you how to live because I've lived. We all have a different path. We all just, everybody has their scars. Everybody has their down times. Everybody has their peaks and valleys. Some people like me, my peaks are pretty damn high, and my valleys can be pretty low too. Yeah. I wake up every day thinking, how am I gonna make this day? And not necessarily a world record memorable day, but I need to have that day have some meaning. And I suffer. I have tough times sometimes. I hate to suffer. We're all suffering because we are, but I have a tough time when I have a day where I didn't get something somewhat significant done. And it doesn't have to be anything. It could be like I cleaned the house and I mowed the lawn. Today was a good day. Now tomorrow, the next day could be I start writing a song and I got something multi-tracked, in my little studio. That's pretty damn cool. And that's, for me, I know that most people my age aren't doing this shit.
Right.
And I'm happy. It's not a comparison. I don't mean to be comparative to anybody my age, to each his own. And my grandmother would always say that, to each his own. And I believe that. And so if another person decides that they don't want to be like me, or they don't want to, and they're my age, and they just feel like this is how life should be to them, I'm like, good for you. Are you happy? And I won't even challenge that because I don't want to say, are you happy? Are you sure? Because that's judgment.
Yeah.
I would rather people just say, this is who I am and this is what I do. I'm like, I love it. I think it's great. So I want everyone to be happy. I want everybody to live their best life, but I don't want to define that for them.
Yeah.
Just let them be and let them believe what they want to believe and be accepting. I don't like the word tolerance. Tolerance means I will tolerate, and I don't like that. I like acceptance.
Yeah.
So that's, if you want to...
Tolerance is, I might not agree with you, or
right.
I might look down upon you, but I'll allow it.
I'll allow this.
I'll allow it.
Acceptance is me saying, you are you and I am
you.
me. How you got there, your path is completely... Walk in a man's shoes for a mile before you judge them. And I love that saying, because you don't know what got that person to that point. Now, there are people in my life that are a little more on the dark or negative side, and I do want to inspire them, but I don't give speeches. I just live. I just am who I am. And if who I am helps them, then I'm fulfilled. It really is. It's a beautiful thing, and I do that with a lot of people that I'm close to, people that you know. I just try to be the best version of me, and I hope that is helpful to my kids too. My kids, they grew up with a firefighter dad who was fairly fit most of the time. I had my down times, but they grew up with that. But I never preached it. I never said, do you know what I do for a living? Do you know what I sing? No, they don't have to burden any of that. Yeah. I just thought, at dinner I had a beer every night, or I had a glass of wine. They saw, oh, Dad drinks, but Dad drank responsibly. And I felt okay about that. And I just did me, and they did them. And like I said earlier, we opened up as many doors as they wanted to open. We'll open them. Yep. And we did. And my kids are wonderful. They've had hard times. They've had down times. They've had, negative segments of their life. But they're good people.
It's all a journey.
I'll take that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so that's just, I don't know. I think I'm here today because we got along. We just realized that there's something good in this relationship, And maybe I have an interesting background in some ways as a firefighter. I have the stories. I mean, my friends, Karen knows some stories I'm not going to share today, but Karen, and not everybody, because I don't want to share, but when people say, tell me you're this or tell me that, I sometimes I do. But if you meet someone off the street and you're sitting at the bar and they say, what was the worst call you've ever been on? I'm not prepared for that.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I don't want to talk about it until I'm in a moment, maybe what I'll call, I don't know. I'm in a moment where telling that story might have some value. Sometimes it's entertainment value, but you're talking about, a lot of times, about the tragedy of others.
Yeah.
And so firefighters are all sickos. We're sickos. Man, we can go on the worst call, the just grotesque thing, at 9 in the morning, and on the way back go, so you want cheese on your hamburgers? I mean, we're weird.
Donuts? Do we want donuts?
Yes. No, that's cops.
Cops, sorry.
Cops. my drill instructor took us, when I was in the academy, took us all on a run one day, and we're running around town. He had us go into a donut shop. And he said, what does that smell like? And we're like, donuts. And he goes, no, a cop. Let's get out of here. Get the hell out of here. So we got out. And that was our whole cop versus fireman thing. And we know we're awesome. No, I'm kidding. My respect for law enforcement is at the highest level because without getting into detail, and I'm just going to say it, I was in the shit. But any firefighter, it's not me. I don't stand out. Any of the 500 firefighters in Sacramento or any other town, we've been there where we needed law enforcement and the integration of us.
Yeah.
Us being able to do our job because they were doing their job. I'd rather be me. We got to be the hero. I mean, I got to save gangbangers. I got to be part of this thing. Not saving them, I saved your life, but I got to be part of the process of saving people who weren't good people, and they hated law enforcement, but they tolerated us. I'll say tolerate. I wouldn't say they loved us. They tolerated the fact that we're doing compressions or they got gunshot wounds or whatever it is, and we're there to do good no matter what. We are there to fix people no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And so that kind of goes back to the no judgment here, just doing my job.
Yeah.
And then we get in the ring and go, we just did that. And it was sort of like a fascination. It's like, this is what we do. And the stories could come, but even pulling up to my very first fire when the whole front of the house is on fire. Whole front of the house, it's blowing out the doors and the windows, and my captain said, pull the tank line. And what that means is, we're going to fight this fire, and we're going in. We're not going to stand on the sidewalk. And Sacramento was known, it's called AIA, Aggressive Interior Attack. And I knew that was my creed, even though I hadn't experienced it yet. And I pulled that tank line pretty much shaking, but I'm like, I have confidence. My captain has confidence. He's saying this for a reason. And you start at the door, and you start to put the fire out, and you work your way in. Next thing you know, you're in pitch black. You can't see anything. And the only thing you see is a glow. And you hit the glow, and you hit the glow, and you get in. And next thing you know, you're standing out there 10 minutes later. The house is still there. It's burnt to hell. It's there, and you put it out, pulling up to something that you were like, I'm scared.
Right. Yeah. I'm guessing. So when you say that, I'm guessing you're kind of like, oh, hey, we're just going to make sure this thing doesn't spread. We're going to let it.
The main.
That's a lot of, from what I've heard in some cases, is sometimes the fire department will go, okay, that's we're not going to fight that. Yeah, that one we're going to watch it burn, and we're going to try to make sure nothing else next to it catches on fire.
The main purpose of the fire service since the Roman times, and they were called the Roman vigils, they would actually, I wasn't around at that time, but what their job was to walk the villages and walk the towns and make sure that everybody was compliant with their fire practices, their cooking and all that kind of stuff. And the main focus of the fire service is not to save the house, it's to save the block.
Yeah.
And you save the block by saving the house or by putting the house out. So when you get there, the house is on fire, that's our objective, but then it's what's called exposures. There's a house here, there's a house here, there's a house back there, there's these houses over here. If you don't put this fire out, they start to light up. And when they light up, the world needs to come. So that was our goal, and that was what I knew our objective was. And AIA was Sacramento's creed. I'm very proud to be part of Sacramento Fire Department. It's been 11 years, and I'm so profoundly proud that I was part of that.
Since your retirement?
Since I retired, yes. It's kind of weird. I left in my mid-50s. I knew it was time to go. If I stayed a little bit longer, it might have been too late. I might have lost it. I've lost over 70 people that I worked with. They're gone. And it's not You know, it's cancer, it's heart attacks, it's mysterious deaths, it's suicides, it's all that. And those are close to me up here, especially people we've talked about. I don't talk about it much anymore, but I get those emails. And a lot of people were in their 40s, 50s. And I'm losing people that I fought fire with, that I broke bread with, that I cooked meals for.
Yeah.
Anyway. God, this has been one of those days. Jesus Christ, I didn't know this was going there. But yeah, so a life, some of that stuff is what, it's the rocket fuel that makes me say, you're freaking lucky.
Yeah.
You made it through, you got out in time, you've got this great life. I happen to have a little.
You're mostly sane.
Mostly. I don't know what sanity is. I think sanity is insanity. But I have a couple rounds left.
Yeah.
I have a voice. I can sing okay. I think I can actually, if I've got more songs coming someday. It took me 60-something years to get my first one, but I have more stuff coming. In fact, I'll tell you, while Kara and Gerald were here, her husband, we went down to my studio and they made me play my stuff because they know my stuff. I recorded so many of my song seeds around the campfire. I used to camp with them. And as good as she is, both of them have been over the top encouraging. And they've heard it. They've heard my song seeds. There's some good stuff coming. And I'm not going to that's going to happen. But I've been promising that to Kara in particular. It's going to happen, Kara, it's going to happen. And I've been promising that for years now. But she's inspirational and patient, and sometimes she slaps me around a little bit in the right way, and in a loving way, because that's her saying, I believe in what you do. And she's the best I'll ever know.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's awesome. And so that chapter of my life, her and Gerald, and just being involved in music up here in Washington, because it took me a minute. People didn't want to hear me. I went to open mics. I had already been in a band in Sacramento, a successful band. And they're like, yeah, okay, fine, you do 90s stuff. Yeah, we're not interested. And finally somebody, Duffy Williams, he felt sorry for me almost. And he recruited a guy named Brian Germain, and Brian's a guitar player. He said, I'll play if you let me play drums. I'm like, okay, you can play drums, guitar player, that's fine. And so
Brian wanted to play drums?
Brian played drums for me.
I didn't know
Brian's my first drummer.
I did not heard that Brian played drums. He's a hell of a guitarist.
He is, and he's not a bad drummer. Now, we know, no, he's not bad. I mean, and he knows that. He knows his place. But Kevin Blackwood was my goal because Kevin's the best in the region. And I'm like, he had no interest. Well, now he's my drummer. So, figured it out. I say that lovingly because Kevin's in so many bands, and I'm like, I know I'm lucky to have him. I'm lucky to have Duffy, and now Brian is in his right place. He's playing guitar.
In his rightful place.
But it took a long time.
In place, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've had great players. I had Bennett Pullen, if you know him, on bass. He played guitar for me for a while. It was like, I want to play guitar for you.
You're talking about Bennett, who played for East Kara's bass player.
Yeah, he was up there at Chinook Fest. Best bass player in the region.
Yeah. I
had him in my band as a guitar player. I had a guy named Greg Warrens who was playing guitar up at Chinook Fest. That was my guitar player for a while. I had Tim McGovern who played for the Motels. He's like, Shawn P, they call him Sean P. Shawn P. I got a gold record or two. I'm like, okay, and you're in my band? Right. So I've had some really awesome people.
Well, see, I thought, so in this area we've got some great musicians, but a lot of it is a lot of similar genre, and that's what I thought. What I liked about Merge was that you're the only '90s band that I know of around.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's
a lot of fun. It was just something different.
Yeah, so in Sacramento, when I joined a friend of mine, sang the national anthem, and he came up. I was 45 years old. He said, "Hey, so I hear you can sing." He was a firefighter. Would you want to be in a rock band? I'm like, yeah. Because I knew deep down that was my goal, was to be in a band at 45. And so I joined a band still trying to be cool. We called ourselves, because my kids said, Dad's having a midlife crisis. I'm like, that's a band name. So we started off as Midlife Crisis.
I love it.
We went out and saw the #1 band. They were called Rogue, and they were voted best band and all that. I'm like, man, these guys are good. They're smooth. I would love to be that good. And the next year we were voted the top band.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, and the part of the reason was, I said, guys, can we do some newer stuff like Green Day, Merge, Weezer? I was throwing these things out, and my drummer, who was older than me, said, hell yes. He knew that. He knew the music. So even though I was, quote, an older guy already at 45, he was probably 50, and the bass player was older than me too, and they were into it. So we started playing 90s and classic rock, and people they were dying for it. That's what got us there. So when they announced top band of Placer County, I'm like, Midlife Crisis. Yeah. Hell yes.
That's awesome.
And then we changed the name because someone said, it makes it sound like you're a bunch of old guys. So we changed it to, 2 of my guys were Amtrak engineers and 2 were firefighters. And they said, we've got this thing like if you're going on a train and you've got a switching station and it's not working, it's called bad iron. And he said, I'm like, bad iron.
Great name.
So we became Bad Iron. It's a real railroad term, and that was our claim to fame. So I moved away and started all over again up here. And with the same thing, I'm like, everyone's doing blues, no problem. Classic rock.
Love blues.
It's fine, it's all good. But I'm like, can anybody do like merge? Or not merge. Can anybody do Green Day?
This message brought to you by Merge.
Anyway, yeah, it took me a minute. It took a couple years for people to go, oh, okay, so you know the story. So that's where we are. We don't play a lot. We don't push it. We don't advertise a lot. We could play a lot more if we wanted to. We played Muckleshoot. They said they're happy to have us back. We've got a casino gig coming up. Forgot Two Rivers. Somewhere we're going to Two Rivers. We're going to play there. I just found that out. We could have a very busy schedule, but most of us are too busy with our other things in life. Kevin's in how many bands? I don't know.
All 7. Of them?
He's in all of them, including Carol.
All of them, but who's the other drummer in this area? I'm drawing a blank.
Harley.
If it's not Harley, it's Kevin.
If it's not Harley, it's Kevin, yeah.
So we apparently only have 2 drummers in this region
of
the Pacific Northwest. Yes. It's Harley or Kevin, and every band has either Harley or Kevin.
Every band has them. And they're both incredible. There's other really good drummers here. I've had a couple subs that have worked out.
Yeah.
That are decent, but you get spoiled, and they're really good.
Kevin's great. Harley's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Great people too. I love being around them.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Dude, so we haven't even got to your fitness videos.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're
out of time.
I feel like we're out of time. How long have we been going so far? Does anybody have any idea?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah.
Normally these are 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I knew I'm just a babbling buffoon, but
no, this has been a lot of fun. This has been great. So we're gonna have you back to talk about your fitness videos.
Yeah. Okay.
And because I know that's coming. That's a project for you,
right?
That you've been working on, and you're producing fitness videos, and I want to hear what you're doing with that, where you're going with it. I love what you're doing. I love your vibe. I love your energy. I love that you are.
Thanks.
You're like, hey, I'm retired, so I'm just getting started.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah. I think it's so cool.
And I know someday the lights are going to go out. Okay, so what? And I don't know when that's going to be. I don't care. I'm just going to wake up every day and try to make something out of it.
You know, you were saying a minute ago that you were talking about midlife crisis, and I'm getting ready to turn 55, and I'm still waiting for mine.
I don't even remember that. But
right?
Anyway.
I'm kind of
yes, right.
And I'm like, and I don't know. I'm looking at my wife over here. Maybe I've had one or two. I don't know. Maybe I'm having one now. She's nodding.
You have a Harley.
Right, yeah, my Harley, my airplane, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, the notes are going out the way at this point. So I don't know if I'm having one, not having one, if I've already had them, if I'm in the middle of one right now. But it's like I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah,
and I turn 55 in a week, I think.
So June 28th. What do you?
July 6th.
July 6th. So you don't even.
So you turn 55 too?
I will turn 65. I now want to start cussing. It's like the number bugs me, but I think on that day I was going to do a photo shoot, a little bit of a glamour shot about I'm a Medicare. This is what Medicare can look like.
Right.
This is a total ego.
I love it. I love it.
But I'm trying to figure out how to make the message not be so freaking self-absorbed. Maybe.
Right. I think that's great.
Yeah. I just want to give. Like I had people in my life. I can tell you about people that were my role models, that were my inspiration. They're still right there on my shoulder. Yeah. And they are the reason I know that I can continue, that I can do things because they were old. They went into their later ages still just doing amazing things. In fact, Coach Beta, my college coach, he's still around. He's in his 90s. He still skis. And he still has this verbose delivery. And Shawn, I'm like, I know, Coach. I know.
Yeah,
and
he's still riding your ass.
He is still riding my ass, still challenging me, and I love those people. And even someday when those people move on, I'm hoping that I can be that maybe to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, so let's just pass it on.
We have some people we know that are in that age range, 80s plus.
Yeah.
That are amazing.
Yeah.
And still out there, like, I remember I blew my knee up about, 5 or 6 years ago now, snow skiing, or snowboarding.
Yeah, I love it. But you were snowboarding, so I'm sorry. That's good.
Right?
I think.
But there was an acquaintance of ours who was up there skiing that day.
Yeah.
And he had to be 85 at the time.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he smoked me.
Yeah.
I mean,
awesome.
He passed me like I was stuck in reverse.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even catch his attention. I yelled at him and he went, "Hi," and he was gone.
Catch his attention.
And I was like, "Hey," and he was gone.
Yeah.
And he's 85 years old, just smoked me.
Yeah.
And I was almost 50 at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm like, that is so inspiring.
It's inspiring. If he makes it to 110, great. If he makes it to 86, great. He smoked you at 85, and just whatever happens in the end, whenever it happens.
Yeah.
As
the saying goes, I'd rather go out with my boots on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's better to burn out than to fade away. Hey, hey, my, hey. Anyway, something like that.
I think more of when you do that, you've got to do it in the voice of the Highlander.
The Highlander, how's that go?
You don't know the Highlander? You don't know the Highlander movie?
I think I've seen it. Oh shoot! No, I feel inadequate. I mean, what's going on? I know the title of the movie, but how did it go?
Where he's like, it's better to burn out than to fade away.
Oh,
right? And he's a very violent guy.
Oh man, violence.
Violence?
I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, all right. Well, on that note. This has been a blast. This has been a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
We're going to have to be back. This is
number one
episode of Kitsap Matters podcast.
Yes.
It's been two guys drinking whiskey, having a conversation, and a lot of fun. So
it was all about me, so it was awesome.
Right? This was the Shawn Perry episode, but it's been super cool. I always have a lot of fun when that's why I invited you to do this, is because when we hang out, we sit around, we have a couple of cocktails. It's just I have a lot of fun just hanging out and talking with you. So I really appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. And don't you go changing.
I won't. And I have nothing. I was going to say something about changing my diaper in 20 years, but no, that's not.
Well, I won't be doing that.
No, you won't.
You're going to hire that out.
That ain't going to happen. I'm just going to move on.
Negative. All right. On that note, Quinn, note to self, editing.
Yes.
So that's a wrap for another episode of the Kitsap Matters podcast. Thank you so much for being here with us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's been entertaining for you as it has been for us. We've been vastly and wildly entertained. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Kitsap Matters podcast. Thanks for listening.
This is a community-focused podcast, but sometimes financial topics do arise. And since the host is a licensed financial professional, we have to include the following disclosure in every episode. The strategies and concepts discussed are for educational purposes only and do not represent specific investment, tax, or estate planning advice. Investing carries an inherent element of risk, and it's in everyone's best interest to consult a tax, legal, or investment professional. Kevin Campbell is an investment advisor representative of and advisory services offered through USA Financial Securities, a registered investment advisor located at 6020 East Fulton Street, Ada, Michigan, 49301. Peaks Financial is not affiliated with USA Financial Securities.